What's good, family? Drive time back at it again. So, I recently seen that they passing this new bill about no tax on tips, and somehow it's people in the service industry that's upset about this. And on top of it, there's a whole bunch of people outside of the service industry that's upset about it, and they don't know what the heck they talking about. And it blows my mind that there's still people that are so clueless to how this works. So I'm explaining. I used to work in the service industry for about, I want to say 15 years. I worked in restaurants, I worked in fast food, I worked in banquets, covered pretty much the whole gambit of it. First off, the thing that people miss or don't understand is that servers usually get paid a base wage that is below whatever the minimum wage is. So when I was doing it, it was around 2 something. I think now it's a little bit higher than that, but obviously that's lower than the minimum wage. The reason why you get tips is because it's a gratuity based on you doing all the work that will go into making a meal happen, so the other person could just sit on their butt and shove food in their face without any of the prep, the work, or the cleanup. The reason that you're supposed to report all your tips at the end of the night is because in the event that you get stiffed or you don't make enough to map out to minimum wage per hour for the amount of hours you work, the establishment has to reimburse you. So first I hear people saying, oh, they need to get a minimum wage and this, that, and third. You already do. The reason why people don't get it is because they don't report their tips accurately, or they suck. Secondly, there's plenty of jobs in the service industry that don't even work for tips anyway. Banquet places usually don't. They usually pay you a base wage, and it's usually pretty high. But even then, if you're good at it, you're gonna make more than minimum wage anyway. So, for example, when I was doing the most of tables, I was making double minimum wage easily. So I keep hearing people talk about that, and it's like that's not how it works. The taxes part is significantly different because they're saying you don't have to pay on it, but here's the thing, you mostly weren't anyway. Tips were mostly cash, and so you just didn't report it. And again, this is something that they've done since way back in the 90s when I was serving. Servers never claimed their cash tips. They will only claim their credit card tips because they had to, and then again, if it didn't map out to minimum wage for the hours that you worked, the restaurant had to kick in the rest to balance it out. And because the cash ones weren't documented, you didn't pay taxes on them. So this ain't a giant thing. Yeah, people use credit cards way more now, so it's different. But for the people that's mad about this, you're kind of dumb. Because if you're just good at the job, you're gonna make more than minimum wage anyway. And if you aren't, you're not good at the job, you should probably pick something else. Yeah, there's a few people out here, probably more than they should be, that don't think tipping is necessary. But if you're working at a decent place, which you should be, this don't become an issue. Those people go where they can afford to go, and it's nowhere that's out dining. That's why they don't tip, because they can't afford it. So they usually stick to low-end restaurants, so just stay away from those. But the whole idea of being upset about it, y'all, no. This is a dumb thing to be upset about. I'm sorry. It's just dumb. If you are good at the job, you're gonna get tipped out. It don't matter how much money they had to spend. I was getting tipped well in fast food. I was getting tipped well in regular restaurants. I was getting tipped well when I was a banquet server. It don't matter where it is. I get tips now, and my job is not a tipped position at all. None of them are. I get tips for my DJing. I get tips when I teach. I get tips when I do other jobs that I have. If you're good, people will tip you. It's just the way it is. Again, I will concede that there are some people, but it's not more than the average. So the whole no tax on tips thing, y'all should not be upset about this at all. If you in the service industry, you should by now know how to avoid this, and you should be working well enough to where even if you do have to report your stuff, it should be a benefit to you. If you don't work in the service industry and you complain about it, just shut up.